So I just wanted to make a random video to share a deck I've been playing around with. I think it's pretty fun to play, and it's got a few, I guess, unique cards and combos I haven't really seen anyone else play. And I've been playing it for the last week or so on Historic, and it's just been a lot of fun. So I wanted to share it with you guys. But first, this is the list that I guess it was based on, and this is a list I found just searching for an interesting list with Oracle of the Alpha, which is a card I enjoy playing. And I played with this for a little while, but I found it had a few limitations or a few problems. So, one of the problems was that the three drops slot was really full. Like you have Oracle, Archmage's Charm, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Wandering Mind in the three drop slot, and also Expressive Iteration kind of goes in there because you most often want to play that when you um, can play a land that turn. So you end up doing not a whole lot in the early turns, maybe countering something, removing a creature, and then the three drop slot is pretty full. So I found it a little bit clunky. You got cards like Wandering Mind, which fit well in this deck, but they're also a bit clunky to play a three drop and not really do anything else that turn. Um, Cards like Unholy Heat didn't really do a whole lot in a lot of matchups. And while I had a lot of fun playing this deck, I felt like it just could be streamlined a little bit more. And in the end, I end up changing quite a lot. But before I show you, I'll just, I guess, call out if no one, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the combo before. But what you do is basically play Oracle of the Alpha, get the power 9 in your library, and then you use cards like Wandering Mind or Expressive Iteration to dig for really Time Walk, which lets you take another turn, and then you use the Siphoner to recur that time walk, use Ephemerate to get Siphoner back, and so you can get infinite turns with this deck, which is quite a lot of fun. So I'll show you the updated version, which I've been playing with, and I think it's pretty interesting and it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I haven't seen anyone really play with some of these cards or some of these combos in the same way. So uses the same core of the deck, but you can see just by looking at the deck list that the curve is lower, which is really good against the format, given that it's a fast format. You don't really want to be waiting to do not a whole lot until turn 3. So we've still got the Siphoner, we've still got Ephemerate, we've obviously got 4 Oracle of the Alpha, 3 drop slot is just Oracle and Archmage's Charm. And really Arcane Proxy, which is one of the keys to the deck. So the deck plays a little bit different to the original. In the original, you wanted to play Oracle of the Alpha once and then dig for Time Walk, and it was really focused around that combo. This is a little bit more flexible, and I think what I like about it is that it takes advantage of multiple Oracle of the Alphas. So in this deck, I'm not afraid to play Oracle, then play a second Oracle, or even Ephemerate, flicker the Oracle back into play, get maybe 3 or 4 sets of the power 9 in the library, and then really use cards like Time Twister to just kind of churn through your library over and over again. And you really make use of all of the moxes, and you don't just. I think the original deck list had you know, you didn't really want to draw Moxes and you didn't really want to draw Time Twister. This deck is a lot more able to use all of the power 9. And so a few changes and a few things to point out. Well, look, Molten Impact is great against any creature deck. So there's 4 of them in this list. And generally turn 1, play a land and pass. Sometimes you want a Faithless Looting to improve your hand. Turn 2, against creature decks, you want to play a Molten Impact. Sometimes Soul Partition is good. So Soul Partition basically is in here for 2 reasons. One is that it removes any permanent, which is useful against a lot of decks. Can remove any permanent, slow down creature heavy decks, or it can also just remove problems that prevent you from winning the game. It's also good in a pinch. If you're digging later in the game, you can actually remove your own creature, like an Oracle, or even better, a Siphoner or an Arcane Proxy. Remove it, say at end of opponent's turn, and then that lets you recast it the next turn. You don't need to pay the 2 more. So if you read the text, a spell cast by an opponent this way costs 2 more to cast. But if you remove your own creature, it doesn't cost an extra 2. So it's not a situation that comes up all the time, but often enough that this has great utility in either dealing with opponent's threats or actually helping your combo work out a bit more. See the Truth is great in this deck, and that's, I think, a card that I haven't seen played enough, and this deck really takes advantage of it. So it lets you, if you just drop this on turn 2, you can just dig 3 cards. If you manage to play that off an expressive iteration, like that's the card that you remove to play this turn, you actually draw 3 cards off that. It's an ancestral recall. You don't just get 1 card, you get 3. And there's a combo with Arcane Proxy. So if you play this, or if you drop it into your graveyard using Faithless Looting, you play an Arcane Proxy and you draw 3 cards off your Arcane Proxy. So that works out pretty well as well. I reduced the number of Siphoners and Ephemerates, and these are kind of late to mid to late game cards most of the time, but you can pretty much use an Ephemerate in the early game just to flicker an Oracle, get more power 9 in your deck. You can even flicker an Arcane Proxy, although that doesn't let you replay a card from your graveyard. It just turns it into a 4/3, which is sometimes useful. And obviously Siphoner, you get the combo where you can infinitely get back a card. So the way this is different to the previous version of the deck, you're not just trying to find one Time Walk, you're not trying to just kind of assemble the combo pieces. It's a little bit more of a control deck in the early game, and the way it goes off tends to be a lot more card drawing, a lot more digging, finding multiple copies of Time Walk, for example, and you're not really afraid to just say drop an Arcane Proxy, remove a Time Walk, because you should have more than one a lot of the time. It's a little bit more aggressive like that, and I think a little bit more fun because it's got several lines of play. You can kind of go control, you can go a little bit more aggressive, you can recur Time Walks, you can just start dumping your hand and recycling with Time Twister. And there's a lot of fun lines and different options depending on which decks you're playing against. Arcane Proxy, things like Molten Impact on turn 2 into Arcane Proxy into Molten Impact on turn 3 are just backbreakers for a lot of creature decks. So it has a lot of good game and a lot of ability to adapt to different decks. So that's basically it in terms of the deck list. So I thought, why not play some a league using this deck list. Alright, historic event. So we'll just play best of 1 just to show you how this deck plays, and see if you like it. Okay, so round 1, this is a pretty good hand. I basically keep anything with Molten Impact in it. I don't know what the opponent is playing, but we've got 3 lands, we've got Molten Impact. Siphon is not that great early game. Spell Pierce is very matchup dependent, but overall on the draw, I can play turn 2 Molten Impact, and the majority of decks in this format are going to play creatures, so that tends to be pretty good. Alright, so I've got some black, white, green. That's interesting. Let's see what happens here. Alright, so I'm just going to play a Steam Vents and leave Spell Pierce up in case he plays some sort of relevant spell. This is interesting. I don't think I've seen this deck before. Alright, so I think we're just in control mode. Leaving lands up. We've got Spell Pierce, we've got Archmage Charm. We can even just get Siphoner to recur counters. Alright, well, I'm going to let this one go. Now, Mill is actually a great matchup for this deck because Oracle of the Alpha adds more cards to the deck. So I don't mind playing Mill. This is obviously not Mill. This is a shrine-based deck, but I'm just going to remove that shrine. I'll play the Hallowed Fountain so that I can cycle potentially that Triome later if I need to. And we're still leaving Spell Pierce up. Alright. Okay. Glacial Fortress. If I have the mana, I'm going to cycle Triome at the end of turn. Really not sure what this deck is. I don't think I've played this before. Yeah, I think that's going to be Spell Pierced. Seems like a good thing to do. And let's cycle more land. I'm going to take some damage here. I don't think that's relevant in whatever this matchup is. Pretty good controlling hand to have. And yeah, let's just keep countering. So you can see how the deck is. I mean, it can be just a straight up control deck here. Don't think there's anything to get back with Siphoner at this stage. Okay, See the Truth into Arcane Proxy is a great combo. Now, I'm not going to play this turn. Just keeps the mana up for Charm, which seems to be the thing to do in this matchup. Okay. I'm considering drawing 2 cards here at end of turn. I don't think I will. Kind of happy to just play this guy. Draw 3 cards. See the Truth. Unfortunately, no lands. So we can just drop. I think Ephemerate is the least useful. Actually, let's drop the Molten Impact. If we need to, we can get that back with the other Arcane Proxy or the Siphoner. So things are looking pretty good. The only problem is I don't really know what the other guy's playing. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty easy if all you do is play big spells. Don't have any issues here. Let's just attack. What have we got to get back here? Not a whole lot. I think the best bet is just to stay open for Siphoner. And really you can just Siphoner into Ephemerate, keep recurring Archmage's Charm and attacking. And I don't think there's too much more to this game. We haven't hit Oracle of the Alpha yet. You don't really need that whole combo to win the game. It does make it more fun, but here's an example where we can just play an aggro control game. You know what? I might actually get Spell Pierce, so I've got the option of countering 2 spells a turn. Okay, swing in. Yeah, let's draw some cards. We've got 6 lands. Probably gonna have to discard, but I really want to see some land. So here we go. Spy Bluff, and probably discarding the tough one. Soul Partition could remove anything we need to remove. I think maybe Arcane Proxy is the least useful in this hand. I'm willing to let that go. Yeah, I think we need to counter this. Okay. To any target. All right. So let's swing in. We don't really want it to pick off the Arcane Proxy, although it's not really a big deal. I think I might just. What have we got? Soul Partition can remove it, but then I need to counter it. It will cost 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got another land that spell pierce isn't going to work. So I think we'll just leave it. If what have we got? 4 and 3. I'm tempted just to pass the turn and recur a counter spell. I think that's probably the way to go. Yep, that's okay. In general, losing arcane proxies off the board can be a good thing, because when you start time twistering, they're in your graveyard and you can reuse time walks and things like that. So they tend to sometimes be a target for people. They think they need to get rid of them, and it's usually a good thing when that happens. All right, let's just play another one of these and get back a charm. We don't need to draw anything. All right, now's the time to actually try to draw into some more lands. So I'm going to keep the charm and play a land. Matchup seems to be going pretty well. I could get greedy at this point and play the Oracle, but I have 6 lands, so I just don't see what the opponent can really do at this point. I will let See the Truth go. I think that's probably the least useful here. You to take 1. Let's counter that. Create a token as a copy of a random creature card with mana value X. But only as a sorcery. I don't think we really want to see this. Okay, let's swing in. And we've got Ephemerate to get back some more counterspells. I'm just going to play this untapped because life doesn't really matter at this point. And I think it's time to play the Oracle because I'm not really holding mana for anything at this point. Make another damage. Doomscar, we ephemerate our Siphoner. And unless he's got some sort of trick here, it should be game. Let's take the counterspell. And done. Well, that was fairly straightforward. We didn't see any comboing off, but I think the deck is pretty versatile. You can move into kind of a control posture here, or you can start going aggro. Depends on the matchup and what you're trying to do. All right, let's go for round 2. Okay, round 2 on the play. So this is not a great hand. Oracle is obviously good, but we're not doing anything until turn 3. I'm actually going to mulligan. Some matchups you can get away with this, but I don't know who I'm playing. This is marginally better. It's not really that great. It just lets me have a spell pierce up, but I think I'll keep this rather than throwing it back. And let's get rid of the Storm Carved Coast. So I'm on the play. I think I'm just going to play this untapped without any information. Lets me play around things like Thoughtseize. Not really relevant here, but it's good to have that option sometimes. Let's play the Triome. Alright, so we've got an aggressive deck. We really want to see some removal. Well, this is not an interesting question. I think seeing the truth on turn 2 is great into Arcane Proxy to draw 3 cards. But while we're at 3 land, I would rather play this Oracle. And that lets us maybe hit a piece of power with See the Truth the next turn. We don't really need Spell Pierce in this matchup most of the time. And Oracle makes a pretty good blocker. So let's see what happens here. Okay, we might just take 3. He's writing. Okay. Let's See the Truth. All right. Mox or Stormcarve Coast. I would take the Mox at this point, and the Coast at this point, because of the on-color mana. Let me play See the Truth as well. Let's see. Siphoner is not bad. I don't really know if we need it. I'm tempted here just to take the Mox. Next turn, drawing 3 cards and hopefully having a little bit of extra mana to find some removal. So we'll take this but not play it, just in case he does have some removal. Also not going to attack. Don't think the extra scry from the Oracle is too useful. More creatures. So there's definitely a risk of getting behind when this many creatures are on the board. 6 damage. I'm going to let it all through. Okay, we'll play our Mox. Can use that for the Arcane Proxy. Draw 3 cards. Okay, not the greatest cards, I think, for this matchup. I could steal this Pot Collector. I think I'd rather just play the island and draw another 3 cards. So these kinds of plays seem pretty broken, right? That's fun thing about this deck is I've just cast 2 Ancestral Recalls essentially. Can play the Mox. Now we've got Spell Pierce up if that's relevant. I'm not going to take the attack. I think the blocker is more useful here. But you can see how the deck takes better advantage, I think, of Moxes just with all of the plays that we have. So Questing Beast doesn't look great for me. I think the plan here needs to be able to find a piece of power to go off next turn. By tramples. So I'm prepared to go down pretty low in life because I think the next turn will probably be a lethal swing. So I'm not worried about preventing too much damage. He's tapped out. I guess we just block there. Take 8, go down to 4. This Oracle lets me see 1 more card. So I think this is just basically the turn to try and go off. So it's a decision now whether to play an Oracle to get an additional opportunity to find more power. I've only played 1 so far, but I don't think we really can because I think that at this point we need to play Expressive and Archmage's Charm. We're going to run out of mana here, so I'd rather just attack in. It's kind of make or break, basically win or lose off these draws. Okay, let's Expressive Iteration here. Okay, well, haven't really seen much removal this game. What can Arcane Proxy get us? I don't think very much at this stage. I think we'll just take the Soul Partition in hand. You know what? We could Soul Partition and Arcane Proxy for removing 2 guys. I think if we remove 2 guys, this guy's got haste, so he still could get in next turn, potentially. I think it's a bit of a risk, so I'm going to just take I think the Soul Partition in hand and play another Expressive Iteration, and we really want to try and get Time Walk here. Oh, excellent. We'll take this. Oh my god. If only we could take all three. I think we'll just take the Siphoner, which gives us the ability to recur the Time Walk. Siphoner in hand, Ephemerate unfortunately in the library, and we'll take the Time Walk. And I think just straight up Time Walk. And do we need to play Soul Partition? We don't. I think we'll do the Spire Bluff Canal because that has to be tapped. Alright, and this turn let's attack in. I probably should have attacked after. Don't need that at this point. Let's see the damage. We'll play this guy. We'll take the Time Walk. Okay, and we'll play our Fortress and get some more power in the deck, and also a shuffle effect, maybe get that Ephemerate back. We get a Molten Impact. Alright, so we're going to attack in with these guys. We don't need that. We do need that. So if I have 3 to draw 2 cards, play 4 to get him and get the Time Walk back, we've got enough there. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. And we're going to play a Siphoner. And we're going to get a Time Walk. And we got another turn. Alright, and let's go Hallowed Fountain. I suppose we can. We need to start thinking about Molten Impact at this point. Probably not, because we do have another Time Walk up our sleeve with Soul Partition. I'm just wondering if it's worth actually attacking here, but no, I'm gonna attack with these guys. Ephemerate is exactly what we need to win the game. So let's just do that. I think just probably the easiest thing to do is cycle Triumph. I'm just going to dump that Pearl to use the colors, the off-colored mana. Cycle this. Ephemerate the Siphoner. Time Walk again, and opponent should concede at some point because there's not really much that they can do. And at this point, I might as well take out some blockers. We'll just get rid of the Molten of the Questing Beast, and that's all. Probably also going to, why not, just to show this this combo. He's tapped out, so I'm just gonna Soul Partition my Siphoner. Yes, I'm sure. Yep. So that was pretty good. So on the edge of defeat there, but with the amount of digging this deck can do and the card selection, there's a lot of good opportunities there to find wins when it looks like you probably should be losing. All right, let's go to round 3. Okay, round 3 looks like a pretty good starting hand. I like Spire Bluff Canal because you can play that untapped on turn 2, giving you turn 2 plays. We've got our Molten Impact. If we need more lands, we can find it with Expressive. Oracle of the Alpha is in our opening hand, which is always good. This is almost an ideal hand. I think one more land and it would look even better, but that's good. Let's keep it. Turn 1 Triumph seems to be the way to go. I wouldn't Faithless Looting on turn 1 most of the time unless I had a pretty bad hand or had some cards to ditch, just because I don't know what the opponent's playing. And here we go, the most common deck in the format. And I think we've got a pretty good matchup against that, just on account of the removal here. So Molten Impact, turn 3, recurring Molten Impact is also, as I said, backbreaking against creature decks. we don't have that option here, so I think we'll probably just end up playing the Oracle, which is not the best, but look, we're setting ourselves up at this point. Sure, he's probably going to remove it, pump this dude, hit me with a bunch of damage. If he can't do that, then at least Oracle absorbs some damage this turn, which is good. And then we can dig in with Expressive Iteration next turn and hopefully find some more removal for the Arcanist. Yep. Okay, so I'll just take the one. I think he'll probably want to pump this guy next turn and recur this thing. Oh, unless he's got it's got no other place. So he's gonna recur the Consider, get an extra card. Nice advantage there. Let's see if we can find some removal. Okay, Mox Pearl gives us a few more options. Let's Expressive Iteration. Okay, I think See the Truth would be the go here. Let's take See the Truth. Well, sorry. Let's think this through. See the Truth is great if I remove it. So it is a little bit greedy, but I don't think I can feasibly dig into any removal here. So I'm going to put the Fortress in hand, dump the Canal, play See the Truth, and this is the point where let's play the Mox Pearl. You can see that that's great off Expressive Iteration because I can now draw 3 cards. Good, so we wouldn't have found any removal anyway. Probably want to play the Hallowed Fountain, seeing as I don't really have any other plays. But next turn I have another See the Truth I can play off the land. So I think probably next turn, unless my opponent wins here, I can play Oracle of the Alpha and then Arcane Proxy with See the Truth to draw another 3 cards. Hopefully put up a couple of blockers and maybe see some win conditions. But in the meantime, I'm going to get hurt a little bit. I'm going to take 3 off this. I'm going to take 3 off this, and then I'm going to take another 3 off Wizard Lightning. So 9 puts me on 5. Which means I may not be able to play the Oracle of the Alpha next turn because I might run out of opportunities here. Might need to just dig for some removal. Let's see what happens. We'll go from there. I'm only taking another 6, right? Yeah, so I'm on 8. Or am I taking 4? Yeah. 7. Okay. Right, so options here, I can pay 3, See the Truth, dig 3 cards, and have 2 mana up, potentially 3. So I think I have to play the Mox first. Also going to play Glacial Fortress first. I can always grab that Symmetry Sage with the Archimage's Charm. I think that might be a better play here. I'm going to drop all this. We're going to play Arcane Proxy. Wants to tap 1 red. I'm actually going to manually tap this. So I think red mana is far more valuable at this stage than white mana. We're not going to really flicker. So let's here. I think the ideal draw would be obviously a Time Walk. So to buy a little bit more time, a little bit more mana. But I think without that, probably going to end up just holding up mana for Charm. Okay. Sorry, see the truth. Let's draw the card first. Okay, I think that's a pretty good draw. We actually have the right mana here. Mox Pearl and Mox Jet will pay for the Soul Partition, which I think I'll just play now. Okay, so we don't have any tricks next turn, or maybe I'm just going to remove this dude, and that leaves me Archmage's Charm to dump on a Symmetry Sage and just steal his guy for extra blockers. So it's going to be hard for him to get damage through the next turn. If he plays something else, I can always counter it. There is the Den of the Bugbear, but if he does activate that, then I just steal his Sage anyway. So looking pretty good. Okay, go for it. And if he does play the Arcanist, I'll probably counter that anyway. I don't like that because getting down to 2 damage against this deck is game, I think. So I'm going to have to counter that and just take the 3, which is not ideal. And he could have more damage. Going to put me on 4, but at least he doesn't have Bugbear or Arcanist this turn. So I think we'll play the Oracle and then try to loot into some more useful cards. Oh, he's got another Arcanist. Yeah, I'm going to play the Oracle. Gives us a blocker and more power in the deck. And let's loot the most efficient way to draw right now. Okay, Molten Impact is pretty good. I'm going to discard these guys here. I think Glacial Fortress, I need the mana more than I need the random card draw. And I can always replay Faithless Looting if I need to draw a card. Let's see the truth in case we can find something more relevant like a Time Walk. Probably Arcane Proxy is the way to go. If we survive the next turn, that gives us an out. In which case, he's not going to be playing Force Spike, so I don't have to play this. I'm going to play it anyway. I think we need to just build mana. So I'm on the assumption I'm not going to die next turn, which may or may not pan out. But we got rid of that very annoying card. And we obviously don't attack. We're trying to block here. Hopefully we can get away with Oracle as a blocker. And Arcane Proxy is a blocker against Den of the Bugbear. And if we can survive one more turn, we're drawing 3 cards off Arcane Proxy and See the Truth. And we've got Faithless Looting if we need it as well. So hopefully he doesn't have the ability to give this guy haste and swing in this turn. Of course he does. So we're going to take some damage and we're probably going to die, right? Static Discharges for the win. I think he had just enough there to get over the line, unfortunately. And that's GG's. So that was fairly close. It came down to his last cards there. And I think we had some good opportunities for the win next turn. Unfortunately, we didn't get quite as much removal as would have been good that game, but it is what it is. Let's go on to the next round. Okay, Dankest of Dans. I don't like this hand at all. Ephemerate is great in the late game, as is Siphoner. Spell Pierce is good in certain situations. And obviously Arcane Proxy does nothing by itself, so we're going to mulligan this, even though the lands are good. And this is a lot better. We've got Molten Impact, See the Truth. This is great. I think if we want to get rid of a card at this stage, it's going to be Faithless Looting. We are down a card already. And Faithless Looting tends to be best late in the game when you have a lot of mana and you're trying to dig for something in the late game. So that was a great draw. It gives us recurring Molten Impact. It also gives us recurring See the Truth. But what are we dealing with here? Okay, mill. So the secret to the mill matchup is always going to be play an Oracle of the Alpha. So I think the play here needs to be, we dig, we hope to hit an Oracle of the Alpha. There we go. And if we can get Oracle of the Alpha, if we can maybe get a second one or an Ephemerate, or even without that, it would be good to find a Siphoner as well. And basically two things. One is that Oracle builds up your deck. And the second one is that you get, so we've lost a Siphoner here. And the second point is that you get a Time Twister in your deck, which if you can grab hold of means that you can pretty much invalidate the whole mill strategy. So it tends to be a pretty good matchup if the conditions are right. But this guy has a very good opening. This stage, double Hitotsugu, Glimpse, is looking really good for him. So I'm not, and we lost our Time Twister there. We lost a Time Walk, so this is not looking great. But what do we have in the bin? We can draw 3 more cards. Maybe we'll get a Siphoner. Maybe we'll get another Oracle. Don't know if we've actually got any more Oracles. So is it worth holding up mana here? You know what? I could draw 2 cards. Yeah, let's leave the Black Lotus on top. Because what we can do here is draw 2 cards. And we got another Oracle, which is perfect. It's going to say we can play an Arcane Proxy, but let's leave the Arcane Proxy because we might want to curse something in the graveyard. And we're going to play a second Oracle, which was a great draw. And a Steam Vent. So we've increased our deck size by 18, still down to 23. Let's see what this guy can do. He's gotten some really good draws so far. And with Arcane Proxy, we're going to want to hit, well, we've got a See the Truth in there. We might get a Time Walk off the mill. I'm going to mill another 10 here. If we can get a Time Walk and start to stabilize, that will give us a few options. Let's have a look. No, not much out of that. Oh, what have we got? Another self. Interesting. All right. So we don't really have the mana to make this guy big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to want to draw. Let's just play the Mox. I don't think Faithless is going to be relevant this turn. Things we've got Archmage's Charm. And we're going to dig for something useful here. Moxes are okay and everything, but I really want to see a Time Walk or a Time Twister. Time Twister would be fantastic. Okay, let's draw 3 cards. Ancestral is pretty good, and Ephemerate is actually really good. So let's just Ancestral in case we can find a Time Walk. And we don't. Can we get away with, yeah, we can play an Ephemerate still. So I'm going to Expressive Iteration because we can still find a Time Walk or a Time Twister. Let's take the Ancestral in hand, Mox Jet, Mox Pearl. That Mox Pearl can let me Ephemerate. I can ephemerate if I go down to 0 cards, and that will just put another 9 cards in my deck, and nine good cards in my deck too. And let's play the Hallowed Fountain. Pay 2 life, draw 3 cards. Soul Partition is interesting. So what are these about to... Yeah, they're about to rip my graveyard, so I'm going to just let that happen. And in my own upkeep, put a stop in there. We're going to ephemerate the Oracle and get the power 9 in there. So we'll see what happens here. I don't have much in the way of counter spells to stop him necessarily. Okay. And then we're hoping that we can draw a Time Twister. We do have Faithless Looting here. Okay, and we've got probably can't counter much, and he probably thinks he's won at this point, but we're going to we'll do it in our upkeep because I just don't know what removal he might have, and I don't have Spell Pierce up. So we're going to upkeep, ephemerate the Oracle. Put 9 more cards in our deck, which is nice. Does that work? Yes, good. Let's draw a card. Time Walk is about as good as it gets. We don't have any way of recurring things at this point, right? All our deck is gone. We just have the power 9. So I think we just have to hope to get things like Time Twister to move on from here. So let's attack. And Time Twister is on top. Fantastic. Okay, all right. So let's go Time Walk. Let's see. I'm going to actually, just given how this deck works, what we're going to do is play this Steam Vents untapped. I'm going to remove the Arcane Proxy, and we're going to replay the Time Walk, then Time Twister, and that should be enough to attack. Definitely had fun. That's a good outcome. So once again, victory from the jaws of defeat. So where are we standing at the moment? 1 loss and 3 wins is not bad. So what are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, round 5, is it? Let's see what round 5 has. Okay, Miami. So this is not a really, not a great hand. Ephemerate, never want to see that in your opening hand, or almost never. But it does have Soul Partition, which in a pinch can give us some control. We're a bit slow on the draw. Now we do have Soul Partition at least to stave any kind of early game aggression and expressive iteration. I don't love this hand, but I think it's better than a lot of hands that you can get, so I'm just going to keep it. And he's going to probably Thought Seize me on turn 1. Here it comes. And probably get rid of expressive iteration, I think. Unless he's got Liliana or something that he's planning on playing. Alright, so we're all good on Soul Partitions for now. We've drawn all of them in the deck. So I guess we just hold up Soul Partition and hope to draw an Oracle or really anything. It's not a terrible start. If there's no pressure on the board, I'm happy just to draw cards and keep waiting. Here it comes. Alright, discard a card and lose 3 life. So I'm going to discard the Ephemerate because really you're going to get that back with Siphoner later when you really need it. And obviously can't do anything with it at this stage. So we'll get rid of Liliana. And this is not a bad draw. Expressive Iteration into... Let's see, what do we want? Archmage's Charm or Arcane Proxy? I think we'll take the Charm. We just don't know what's going to come our way. And that's a good counter, although it's also good to be able to recur iteration. Okay, double charm. I think we're pretty good here. Yep, I don't like the arena. We're not going to go down on cards now that we're in control mode. I mean, I could have soul partitioned that as well. Looting. Do I want to loot here? Can discard. Yeah, I think it might be an alright idea to loot here. Yeah, we don't really need Molten Impact. I'm gonna let that go. Play a land, and hopefully get some more relevant cards. Here comes Liliana. Gonna get rid of it. That's pretty good. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, I take 2 damage and it's a discard. No, let's not let that happen. I'm gonna recur this and dump the land at this point. Yeah, perfect. Let's dump these 2, and off the proxy, we're gonna take an expressive iteration. He might choose to remove the proxy at this point, which he's welcome to do. Not much here at all, but I guess I will take the Spell Pierce, put the 1 island back in, and play the Glacial Fortress, and who knows, maybe the Spell Pierce will be useful. If not, I can try and dump it to Faithless Looting next turn. It's really why Faithless Looting is in there. It's just a great, not really a combo piece, but it really helps you dig. Yeah, that is fine. And now we are talking. So let's Oracle of the Alpha here. And I am going to Faithless Looting. There's just not much in my hand that's actually relevant. I'd like to hang on to a Soul Partition. Spell Pierce is not that great. Here we go. Let's get rid of Spell Pierce and Soul Partition. Everything else is pretty good. Time Twister can just reset the game. Sometimes you can play it too early and mess up, but it's good to have in hand. What we don't want to see is Thought Seize at this point, but it's almost inevitable. I'm happy to take 3. Pretty much want to see the truth into another proxy, but even better. Let's play another Oracle, and now we can really get going. Okay, I'm going to see the truth. Ancestral is pretty good. Let's cast that now. The reason I'm not attacking with Oracle first is that I just don't think it's that 1 card is as relevant this turn as it will be to my next draw step next turn. So I'm just going to attack in now. Siphoner is wonderful. We can get back Ancestral. We can pretty much deal with this card next turn. And I think my hand now is pretty resistant to any discard effects. So I think we're in a good position here. That's fine. He's done his job. He doesn't need to hang around. Okay, so I think... Okay, so if we did Siphoner, draw 3, we use a lot of mana there. I'm just going to go Expressive Iteration, see if I can find a Time Walk or something. All right, so not much. Hand, Library, end of turn. You know, we can still do that trick, but I think it's fine just to lose this dude. And swing in. We can. I mean, I could get rid of it. No, that's fine. He's gone. not too concerned with that. I'm going to take 2 off this just so I can activate the siphoner in case I need to. And we can have that ancestral back next turn. Seems like a good play. Okay. Not too worried about losing that siphoner. And then we got a time walk, which is wonderful. Let us attack. I'm going to ancestral first in case I draw something useful. That's pretty much a lock at this point. The only problem is that we don't know what he has. He's got 3 cards in hand. Time walk. I'm just going to oracle and probably pass the turn at that point. I can ephemerate this guy if I need to, but I've also got another one in hand. So we're pretty much recurring time walk at this stage. And unless he's got some removal here, I should be able to just win an Arcane Proxy, which we can draw more cards. So let's swing in first. Turns out we didn't need that time twister in the end. Okay, we're going to swing in. And I might just drop the second siphon. It gives us some more attack and more targets for him to get caught up on. We don't need a Black Lotus. And I can just play my land here. I think having more lands is more useful than having an extra card when you're just recurring time walk. Alright, so let's just play the siphoner. And hopefully he can recognize what is happening here. And we have Soul Partition and Ephemerate to protect siphoners and win the game. Alright, another win. Alright, so 4 wins. Let's go to the next round. Okay, versus Crane. As I said earlier, I'll keep any hand with Molten Impact just about if it has lands. It's just such a good card against creatures. And being able to recur that on turn 3 is wonderful. And Archmage's Charm, we're pretty good. On the draw, so if the opponent is aggressive, we can get behind. But I think you can't really be unhappy with that. And black, so I just expect Thoughtseize whenever I see black mana. And then this is interesting. Alright. No need to do much here. We'll play the Steam Vents, not take damage, and leave up mana for Spell Pierce, and then we can leave up mana for Archmage's Charm. I'm actually not sure if it's Archmage or Archmage, but whatever. Okay. Tempted to draw 3 at the end of the turn if nothing happens here. Draw 2, sorry. No, we don't really need to. We're just drawing lands. And yeah, let's just play the land. Perfect Spell Pierce there. Okay, I'm going to just draw cards here. More to bait a counter. What have we got? Return a target spell to my hand. No problem. Alright, so I'm going to Expressive. Yeah, that's Expressive Iteration. We don't get a land, which is unfortunate. But we do get the Oracle in hand and Proxy. And I'm going to get greedy here and just draw 3 cards off See the Truth. We didn't get any lands. Oh my god. This is not great. Do I want to keep a Faithless Looting? No, I think I'd rather have some actual card draw here. 3 charms. We're going to need... go down to 1 Proxy. I think that's probably the best way to do it. cards we saw there, set 1 off the draw, plus the expressive, 3 off expressive, and another 3 off Arcane Proxy. Top 7 cards, no land. So that is unlucky. And Teferi's not great, so, well, here we go. We've got a land. I'm going to get rid of this guy. Resolves. And here we go with land. And it's unfortunate that I can't play a Proxy and do the rest of the damage to Teferi. But if I do draw another land, then I can play Proxy, get rid of Teferi with counter backup, which is probably good. Okay, he might have 2 counters. Well, we could do this. Let's almost the same thing. All right. He's really going to protect that Teferi with the proliferate. So I think the option here is, do I draw another 3 cards off the Arcane Proxy, or do I just try and get rid of the Teferi? Or do we just play an Oracle? Tell you what, I'm going to play an Oracle because that might bait a counterspell, and we do have options next turn, and it would be good to start drawing some power out of this deck. Don't know what's going on with the land situation here. 5 lands out of, I don't know how many cards we've seen. Okay, maybe let's see what happens if you get rid of the Oracle. And just Fairy. Yeah, we could be too far behind here, just given what that deck can do. What do I want to do here? I might just attack. The top card. Frame rate is, it's not too bad. With Siphoner, it is not a land, but not bad. So let's just play an Arcane Proxy. What are we getting? We can get 3 cards, or we can get the Molten Impact. Once again, I'm going to go for the 3 cards. Because I'm greedy and because I really want to see some land. All right, we got it. We got a land. Okay, so let's take the damage off the land and Molten Impact to bury, I guess. Great. And if I have an opportunity, yeah, why not do this now? I'm going to ephemerate the Oracle and force him to either bounce it. Okay, seems good. He's probably going to destroy all our creatures next turn, but we've got enough use out of the Oracle. I might put a stop in my upkeep so I can Siphoner in response to the ephemerate trigger. We've got another Teferi. I do have a Soul Partition as well. Okay, do I want to... No, I'm just going to remove the Oracle. I really like having multiple copies of Power 9. Let's attack. What are you? We've got 5 counters. Draw. Okay. Mox is almost a land. Play our Mox. Let's Soul Partition this fellow. See how much he wants to protect that. Oh, that's a... I didn't see that concede coming. We're definitely coming back there with those draws. All right. So deck going pretty good so far. Still got that one loss against red blue and 5 wins. So round 7 coming up. All right, round 7 versus Valthus. No problems with this hand. We've got lands for the first few turns. We don't really have a turn 2 play, but we are on the play, so I'm happy to keep it. Opponent is playing the Wellspring. I think that often means that they're playing red blue. So it is a problem that we don't have removal. So I'm gonna just hope to. I could even turn to Expressive Iteration just to dig for some removal. That may be viable. Not the most optimal play, but yeah, and he is playing that deck. Spell Pierce is pretty useless, so let's just dig, see if we can get some. Yeah, Molten Impact is what I need, and let's put this one in the library. And unfortunately, we're not going to draw 3 off see the truth, but it is more important in this matchup just to deal with turn 2 Red Horde Arcanist or anything along those lines, or this guy as well. I think that's probably the turn 2 play. We got another Molten Impact, so this is looking pretty good. We'll get rid of this guy. We've got another Molten Impact. We can recur the Molten Impact with the Arcane Proxy. So this is the kind of the mode that this deck takes against heavy creature decks. Hopefully he's going to try and give this guy haste and I can counter it with a Spell Pierce. Here it comes. Let's just say no to that one. See who's going to pump up. Well, that's probably not the best one, right? Because that does 2 less damage, but okay. Who did he give haste to? Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to counter it anyway because that card is pretty dead in this matchup. And I saved myself 2 points of damage doing that. Unless he's got another one of these. He does, doesn't he? Another Reckless Charge. Okay. And I've saved more than 2 damage in that case. I saved 5 damage by countering that spell. So that's a pretty good rate. And now we can get rid of this fellow. And next turn, so you know what? I want a Faithless Looting here. Even though we're wasting that, I just think that I think Oracle is less important here. Aggressive is less important. We've got a charm, we've got some land. I think we're pretty good. What we really want to do is just not die, and I'm cautious. We've got a Den of the Bugbear on the table. He's got a Reckless Charge up his sleeve, and so any creature he places down can be pretty damaging. So I really just want to Proxy, get rid of the Soul Scar Mage, and have an Archmage's Charm just to draw some cards. Or even just to steal his other Soul Scar Mage, that can be good as well. But in this case, we're going to get rid of this guy. We could chump with this, and then we've got 2 damage floating essentially here that we can take out that mage with at a later date. He's got a land here. It's going to be annoying for Bugbear, but I can always block that at this stage. In fact, I might want to let the damage from the Soul Scar Mage through just to block that Den of the Bugbear next turn. Or potentially I can use this damage, so I guess I'll hold up the charm. No, I'm going to use that because I think between the charm grabbing hold of this guy, taking out this guy, or whatever the case may be, I think there's enough options with this one card. Oh, we could just be dead. No, here we go. Okay, so I actually don't want expressive iteration here because I take out him and then I lose to Den of the Bugbear. I'm just going to pass the turn. This is close. He could just draw some burn. Okay, Soul Scar Mage. Sorry, expressive iteration. I think we have to let that. Although, no, that's going to give him some options. I think now is the time to counter and remove because I know that he can't activate this, he can't activate that. Next turn, I just need to hope to draw something off this expressive iteration. Soul Partition is not going to work for me. Not looking great. Let's do another one. No, I don't really want to just tap out, although it doesn't really matter. He's got the win on the board if he can get a land out, but he could also have a hasty creature. So if I can just play the land, pass the turn with Soul Partition. If he doesn't draw a land for Den, then I'm good. If he does, then I'm done. Okay, so we're okay here. For at least one turn. If he gives this guy haste, I've got an out, but it's not a very good out. It's just a one turn out. That resolves. Okay, see you later. Okay, so we need to find something here. Gonna look in the top 3. I'm gonna take the charm, but this is not looking too great. I guess we just hope that he doesn't draw. Yeah, I'm gonna drop this one. Could keep it for Faithless Looting, but I think we need lands. I think the only thing to do here is just hope he doesn't draw a land. If he draws a land, I don't think there's anything I can do. Sage is great. In fact, that is really good. Yep. So I'm just going to hold this up because I think I can steal the Sage if he pumps up the Mage. No, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to take it. And we're going to loot because I was worried not having land this turn. We're going to loot. And we'll dump these two. And we'll play a Molten Impact there. And of course I'm not going to attack because if he hits me with the Bugbear, I'm dead. So, well, I'm not dead, but I'm on 1. He's got it. Yeah. It's pretty much down to the wire. Unfortunately, I had to get rid of the Oracle, so I couldn't win. So I've lost twice to that deck. And usually it's not a bad matchup. It's usually pretty good. So I think I did get a little bit unlucky in some of these games. So 5 wins, 2 losses, 2 more wins to go if we can get them. Let's see what happens. All right, we're around 8. And we obviously can't keep this hand. Not enough lands. Straight up mulligan. But this is good. I think we've got our turn 2 options. If we see creatures, we Molten Impact. If we don't, we go see the truth. I think Faithless Looting might be the card to ditch here. You can make a case for Soul Partition, but not seeing what the opponent has. I think that's probably the safest way to go. And we're back in this. So let's see if we can get a win against this deck. It hasn't been a great record. I like to see Arcanist when I have a Molten Impact up. That's nice. Let's just take care of this guy. Mm-hmm. All right, no other. Oh my god, that's a really good top deck. So let's play Glacial Fortress, and we're going to Molten Impact. So I know that I could have seen the truth there, but I think just against this deck, stemming the tide of creatures, and now we have another 2 damage sitting in our pocket. And this deck can run out of creatures. It's a problem that they do have. Take care of a few creatures, and they're a little bit stuck. Okay, and another perfect draw here. We attack in. We play our Oracle, which doesn't trigger the Molten Impact. I'm going to play the Triome and turn. Mm-hmm. Yep, no problem. If he gives him haste, then that's fine because we'll take 6, but he's got no cards. So let's see the truth. We waste our damage unless we draw removal here. Perfect. Let's don't really want to take more damage. I'm going to put this in my hand, and we just play a land, and we swing in because we're not going to be blocking. Hopefully he'll use this on the captain there, but if he doesn't, we might have to get rid of it. Oh, interesting. That's fine. Let him attack. See if he wants to trigger anything else. No. And then let's get rid of it. That's another perfect card. I think we've been pretty lucky here. Yeah, how greedy do I want to get? Hand, library, end of turn. I'm going to get pretty greedy here. Let's see if we can try and get a win with style here. I'm on the aggressive. He's might play this, which should be fine. We're just going to play more oracles. We can counter what he's got here. So, let's swing in with this guy. See what I can get on top. If that was a time walk, I'd obviously just draw cards. But as it stands, I'm going to build the mana out and play a Oracle as a blocker, and with a counter open to deal with what he has. He's also got a Den of the Bugbear, but I've got an Arcane Proxy. 9 life should be enough at this stage to keep things under control. Alright. I'm not going to get too greedy, and I'll just hit with 1. And I might want to consider using this next turn, the charm, rather than countering a spell. I'm going to play the Spire Bluff, because if I draw a Faithless Looting, I can charm into Faithless Looting, and that's okay. And having land is good if I want to try and get into Time Twisters and things like that. Okay, go for it, dude. Well, I mean, I could... Yeah. Happy to block like this. And given the lay of the land here, he's on 6, I'm on 8. Nope. I was going to say draw some cards, but we do not want to let that see play. And he's on 4, so that's actually the win. All right, good game. So we beat that deck. We did get a lot of good draws, though. And we are sitting at 6-2, I think. It's pretty good. 6-2. So the last round would be round, can't count, round 9. Kai McD, let's see what they've got for us here. Alright, I'm not loving this hand on the draw. I've got really nothing until turn 3, but I've got some good turn 3 plays. I'd rather have, I can always play expressive on turn 2 and just dig for what I need. I think it's worth keeping just because it's got potential, but it is very slow, and if opponent is playing a fast deck, then could be in trouble. Lucky no turn 1 plays, but green usually means we're going to see some creatures here. Okay, looks like elves potentially. Do I want to... Yeah, I think expressive iteration is fine here. I do have lands, and I was going to try and dig for something useful, but I guess it's going to be proxy or land. I just want to see more lands here. I think 4 lands is fine. Yeah, I think we're just going to take the proxy. It's a tough choice. And we're going to exile the triumph because we don't really want to be drawing that later. So next turn, unless I draw some good removal, it's going to be an Oracle. I need to take care of that Allosaurus Shepherd at some point. I don't think he's at the stage where he can add enough to just wipe me out there. So let's play this untapped. Play a nice blocker. And then to get rid of that Allosaurus Shepherd, we can really just steal it. And then it becomes a blocker for us. Arcane proxies don't do a lot. When we hit 7 mana, you can actually copy the charms, but that's kind of a rare occurrence. Archdruid is not great for me, so I think next turn I just have to... I'm going to take that 3 and steal the Allosaurus Shepherd. Don't think it's actually worth holding up mana for the Spell Pierce, but let's take your Allosaurus Shepherd and play a tapped land. Not tax. Yeah, so look, against elves, you need removal. This seems to be a slow hand for them. By this time, usually you have a lot more threats out. But, it gets very dangerous very quickly. So the good news is I have played a Oracle, so if I do draw, I can draw some good cards. Guess I'll just have to take all of that damage and try to use the Oracle to draw some cards. Okay, so I'm dead on the board, so I need to try and draw at this stage and try to go off. Seek the Truth is not bad, depending on what else I draw. So let's just get some cards. Time Twister is not going to help us, unless there's one out here. Every other option loses, and the one out is we see the Truth into Black Lotus and then Time Twister, and then we get some good lucky draws off that. But of course, that is way too much to ask for. Unfortunately, that's going to be a good game. And concede. So yeah, that's why I like opening hands with that Molten removal, because against some of the faster creature decks, which probably most of the decks that we're up against, you really need to have that early. But I'd say 6 wins, 3 losses is not too bad. Some of those games were close. A couple of the games against blue-red were pretty close. It came down to the last cards there. So overall, I really enjoy this deck. I think there are some great interactions. You saw the potential to see the truth. And, we didn't see the deck go off too often because really it can just be a control deck and it can just play and recur a lot of removal, which is enough to beat other decks. But I think once or twice we may have just seen a few loops of Time Walk and kind of going crazy. That can happen when you're essentially you just start casting Time Twister, drawing a bunch of Moxes, playing the Moxes, casting another Time Twister, casting Time Walk, and you can just have a board filled with Moxes and creatures and a whole bunch of turns up your sleeve, which is a lot of fun to play. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and if you like the deck, feel free to copy it and play it and have fun. Thanks for watching.